Number 6. Isaac COULING. Isaac COULING was a high schooler participating in the Madison tournament at the Wolf Creek Golf Course when he suddenly encountered an angry goose. He was at the 7th hole when an irked bird began to chase him, much to the surprise of the attending public. People began taking pictures and videos of the strange situation. The 7th hole was located close to a goose nest, but it wasn't until COULING turned around to focus on his game that the bird suddenly lunged at him. The student was actually tackled to the ground, and the goose continued to attack COULING for several seconds. The teenager managed to get away with only a few bruises and a hurt ego. Surprised by how popular the photos of his encounter had become, he laughed it off, however, and his coach remarked he would have preferred COULING's sudden fame to have come from a hole-in-one during the competition. The goose, belonging to the bird family Anatidae, isn't a singular species of waterfowl, as many different types are known by this general name. There are 3 main categories. These are the anser, better known as the grey goose, the branter or black goose, and the chen. The latter encompasses several different species, including the white goose. Though all birds under this category are known as goose or geese in plural form, this term is properly applied to the female of the species. The male bird is a gander, while the creature's offspring are known as goslings. When geese are flying close together in a group, they are called a plump, but on the ground, this name changes to gaggle. The goose is a monogamous bird, living all year round with a single mate. It only becomes territorial during the egg-laying season, usually in spring. This is an anomaly among monogamous animals, since they tend to be aggressively protective of their mate and the area they inhabit through their lives. Number 5. Willow WEBB. Willow WEBB, age 87, was enjoying her morning walk in the park when she noticed 9 geese swimming in the nearby pond at Dartmouth. She saw them moving closer to the shore, but thought nothing of it. When she looked away, the wild birds suddenly lunged at her. WEBB, who used a walker, was tackled to the ground, and once down, the geese began pecking at her violently. The elderly woman tried to kick them away, but it didn't help. It wasn't until 2 passers-by had come to her rescue that the wild geese finally scattered away. WEBB was rushed to the hospital. She required an operation, her arm set in a cast, and she also suffered a hip injury. She ended up spending over 2 weeks in the hospital before being discharged. The anser genus comprises 11 different species. The largest known specimen is the grellag, weighing as much as 9 pounds. These species all have certain traits in common, such as pink or orange limbs, bills that can range from pink to black, and white undertail coverts. The name branter comes from the Old Norse word brandgas, which can be translated as burnt or black goose. This genus is distinguishable from all other geese species due to the black or grey coloration of their legs and feet, as well as large areas of dark feathers around their bodies. They're usually smaller than other species of geese. The Eurasian branter geese prefer coastal areas, while the American and Pacific species prefer to migrate inland during the winter. The Canadian goose is a particularly aggressive waterfowl, belonging to the branter genus. Though it's native to Canada, it has a prolific population in the US as well. This bird is considered a pest and has caused a high amount of fecal coliform on different beaches. The white geese belong to the genus chen and are found in North America's subarctic regions. They migrate south when the weather gets cold. Number 4. Unnamed Ontario woman. An unnamed woman in Brampton was attempting to cross the parking lot leading to her workplace when an angry goose approached her menacingly. She noticed the bird getting close and tried to walk around it, but it began chasing her. The woman's panic seemed to encourage the goose's aggressive behavior, as the animal started following her with its wings wide open. A nearby driver got close and attempted to rescue the scared woman. Even the large vehicle didn't dissuade the violent goose. It kept trying to peck at the woman, who jumped into the car to get to safety. The goose kept trying to reach her, lunging at the open door until the unnamed woman managed to close it. This is not the first report of aggressive geese in Brampton, Ontario. The police have received several calls complaining of attacks. This determined the authorities to set up 2 scarecrows to ward off the territorial geese. Geese tend to be highly aggressive when feeling threatened or irritated, both by other animals and human beings. The first warning sign comes when the goose stands tall, spreading its wings and hissing loudly. If this doesn't work, it charges forward violently. Finally, unless left alone, it'll bite and use its powerful wings to attack. Because geese can't easily hide or camouflage, they naturally resort to aggression to keep themselves and their offspring safe. The goose's upper bill features a sharp tip that can cause painful damage. By pinching its victim's skin and twisting its head, pulling back, it can create a bruise and damage a muscle in more severe cases. It's sharp enough to cut through a person's skin. Its long, strong wings are excellent weapons as well and can cause painful bruises. The impact has been described as feeling as if you're being hit with a baton. Most goose-related incidents result in minor or no injuries, but that's not always the case. Attacks by a single goose or a gaggle may lead to broken bones, head trauma, and even tendon strains or tears. Many of these injuries occur when the person trying to avoid an attacking goose trips and falls. Number 3. AJ BUTTACAVOLI. AJ BUTTACAVOLI was walking through Heather Farm Park when he noticed a gaggle of geese rushing towards him without any previous provocation. The geese in the area already had a bad reputation, as several people had complained about their violent behavior. BUTTACAVOLI said that it seemed the three birds were coordinating their attack and began charging at him even though he tried to steer away. He attempted to make a quick escape but tripped, hurting his leg badly. Though BUTTACAVOLI didn't require medical attention, he did mention being left with a pronounced limp. Since Canadian geese are considered an endangered species, there is little that authorities can do to remove the animals from Walnut Creeks. Today's topic was requested by Zelcon Erickson. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. When attacked by a goose, it's not a good idea to run away. This will only encourage the bird to chase and attack its victim's legs from behind. Attacking it directly will only lead to further aggression. The best course of action is to intimidate the geese into backing away. Clapping loudly and stomping your feet against the ground, making yourself as big as possible, will usually dissuade a potential attack. This is only necessary when directly confronted by a goose. It's better to avoid making it feel threatened in the first place. Avoid any loud or sudden movements when walking close to it, and keep children or animals from approaching it. If you notice a nesting area, it's best to leave or stay as far away from the geese as possible. It's common for a human being that was once attacked by a goose to get targeted again and again. This is because of the way they react when seeing the animal. Running away or cowering tends to encourage violent reactions whenever the animal feels threatened. Number 2. Emergency landing. As the planes took off from Abbotsford, everything seemed to be going smoothly for Swoop Airlines Flight 312. All of a sudden, however, passengers were informed by the captain that they would be forced to make an emergency landing. Several passengers began tweeting and messaging loved ones, describing a loud thudding sound and smoke in the cabin. Several geese had flown too close to the plane and were sucked in by the engines. There were no further incidents and all passengers managed to deboard safely. The aircraft, however, had to be temporarily taken out of service. That was far from the first time geese led to issues mid-air. In 2017, a goose flew right in the way of an Aeroflot plane. Though no one on board was hurt, the bird ripped a large hole through the front of the aircraft.
Before we move on, official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. It's out of this world.
Number 1. Columbus students under attack. Columbus Afrocentric Early College's authorities were forced to cancel the middle school's track meet. This was due to the constant and aggressive attacks from a group of local geese. They'd noticed a goose nest near the track and several children had to run past it, at which point they were intimidated by the aggressive birds. When a couple of teachers approached the area to try and solve the issue, the geese became visibly agitated. The birds flew toward the adults, attempting to attack and thus forcing them to leave the area. Since these animals were protected, all the school could do was wait for the eggs to hatch and for the birds to leave the area of their own accord. Until that happened, authorities were forced to close down the running track to keep students from being harmed. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be attacked by a goose or become an internet meme? Let us know in the comments section below.